Facebook images. So here's some best practices, some techniques for utilizing and creating some really powerful Facebook images. The first thing is to utilize familiar images. These are things that people instantly recognize in one context and you move them to another context. So this is an icon that looks like an Apple phone icon, and that's going to grab somebody's eye because they're used to and they recognize that instantly, and they almost think, what's my phone icon doing on my Facebook page? And that can grab attention there. This works really good for certain types of offers, specifically like this one here. So this is Alex Jeffries. This is what I call a straight offer image, where it shows the buy button. And there's no denying that if you click on that thing, you're going to be sold something. Now, this works really well because he's offering quote-unquote coaching, but he's doing it for less than $20. And these types of images work really well with existing customers, specifically if you're doing retargeting or you're following up with them and they already have a relationship with them. Now, caveat here, and you'll hear me mention this more than once, is supposedly you're not, technically you're not allowed to have more than 20% of your image have text upon it. Now, Facebook is notoriously horrible at enforcing that one way or the other as well. So it's just something to be considerate of. If you get disapproved, then you go the other way and you try a variety of images until you get one that runs through. So here's another image. We call this one incongruent juxtaposition. In this case, it is 4 eyes, literally, that is taking place here. And that is like impossible to ignore because it shocks you. You're not used to seeing that. You take something that's normally used to being seen, like with that phone icon, but then you do something crazy with it like this. Now in this case, there's also eye path. Notice how the image itself is like an arrow that points to the text to get them to read it. That can work, although with newsfeed ads, if you're running a combination of newsfeed and sidebar ads and mobile ads, it doesn't guarantee that that same image is going to display and point to the same location in each and every advertisement. So it's just something to be aware of. Handwritten does really well because most people don't do handwritten images, so it stands out by being different. Black and white is another thing that also helps to stand out too. Weird images, where they're just plain weird, like this one here. Very often, they'll usually have some sort of sexual tension associated to them. They'll look like genitalia or something weird, right? But anything that's just out of the ordinary, like what the heck is that, can stop them dead in their tracks and get attention. Now, this is an advertisement that runs incredibly well off of Facebook, but with a little bit of manipulation, you can make this one really well on Facebook. I call this an interactive, quote-unquote, interactive image. It's not really interactive, but in this case, which vegetable causes fat gain? The answer may surprise. Please tap or click your answer below. Now, whatever one they tap on, it's going to take them to the same landing page because it's a clickable image, right? Now, you would modify this by putting the headline and the text and stuff around this image, but by doing something like this, and I don't know if that's 20% or less text, so you might have to play with it, but making the image appear to be interactive by them clicking on it or manipulating it or doing something with that image, it's very powerful. Here's a storyboarded image. So this is one of the cases where having an image slide where you chose multiple images for your Facebook ad can work in your benefit by having the theme here extend throughout. This is like a controversial or shocking one. Got sperm? Question mark. And the question mark is like a little, spermy guy, right? This is an incredible ad. Sexy woman to the demographic of the men that are going at, this is going to be showing up on, right? But controversy can work really well, especially if it is actually in line and makes sense with the offer, not just controversy for controversy's sake. This is called concentrated focus on something. And so by blacking everything else and putting a highlight on this one thing, it just naturally draws the eye to it. And that grabs you. Here's another version of the same thing where they blur out the rest of the background except for the one thing that they want you to focus on. And so by mixing in unfocused and focused content, that grabs your eye and that pulls you in. The image is the most important, most powerful thing in getting attention on Facebook ads. So it does make sense to try a lot of different images for your advertisements. So you could be running a lot of different images to the same advertising set, the same people in the same interest and the same behavior and demographics that's set, where then you're now testing your ad. And maybe the only thing you're testing is images, amongst other things. So by the way, real quickly, just so you understand this, is the way that this works is start with ad sets and don't test your ads. And then once you find which ad set seems to perform the best in terms of cost per click and responsiveness, then go back to those same ad sets that are performing really well and start testing your images and your headlines and your text and all the other elements here, which make for a good Facebook advertisement.